All right, today we're diving into a story of innovation that comes from a place you might not expect, one of the heaviest industries on the planet, metallurgy. Now, this is a world of incredible heat, massive scale, but the breakthrough we're looking at is, believe it or not, surprisingly light. So just picture it for a second. These huge plants, and inside there are literally rivers of glowing liquid metal flowing from one part of the process to the next. These aren't just random streams, though. They're like carefully controlled superhighways, the absolute lifeblood of the entire operation. And that brings us to the unsung hero of this whole process. It's a piece of equipment you've probably never even heard of, but it is absolutely essential. It's called the launder. To put it simply, a launder is basically a high-temperature gutter. That's it. Its only job is to get super hot molten metal from point A to point B safely and efficiently. But as you're about to see, that seemingly simple job comes with some really, really heavy problems. For decades, the industry has really struggled with how to cover these things. You have to keep the heat in, you have to control the fumes, but the traditional ways of doing it have always been a huge compromise. And the problems just kind of stack up on each other. You're losing a ton of heat, which wastes a crazy amount of energy and money. You've got dangerous fumes leaking into the work environment. The radiant heat coming off these things is just intense and unsafe for the people working nearby. And maybe the biggest headache of all, cleaning and maintenance is an absolute nightmare. Slow, difficult, and disruptive. The old ways were really just a choice between two bad options. On one hand, you had these massive, heavy steel covers. So heavy you needed a crane just to move one. This would stop production completely just for a simple cleaning job. Or you could go with these temporary ceramic fiber blankets, but they gave you inconsistent insulation, they kicked up a lot of airborne dust, and they were terrible for safety. So yeah, neither one was a real solution. So faced with this constant, nagging operational headache, one company finally said, okay, enough compromising. It's time to completely reimagine what this insulation could be. It's a great question, right? When the default solution is literally a giant heavy slab of steel, where do you even start to innovate? How do you break out of that mindset? Well, you don't just try to make the heavy thing a little less heavy. Nope. You throw out the old playbook and you change the entire concept from the ground up. And this is what they came up with. It's a system that's all about two simple but totally revolutionary words: modular and lightweight. And those two ideas, they're the key to fixing every single one of those problems we just talked about. So how they do it? Well, the secret isn't just one magic material. It's actually this really clever 3-layer sandwich design where every single layer has a super important job to do. Let's break it down. The outer shell, that's the tough guy. It's made of a special stainless steel that can take a beating and resist corrosion. Then you have the core. This is the real workhorse, a high-density insulating blanket that does the heavy lifting of keeping all that heat in. And finally, you have the inner layer, which is kind of the secret sauce. It's a special ceramic fabric that creates a tight seal to stop fumes from escaping and keeps molten metal from sticking to it. It's the whole package in one module. Okay, so the design is clever, for sure, but what does it actually mean for the folks working in the plant day in and day out? Because this is where the innovation really, truly shines. Get this. This is the crucial number. Each one of those high-tech 3-layer modules weighs just 10 to 20 kilograms. That's about 22 to 44 pounds. Now think back for a second to those old steel covers that needed a crane to lift. This changes everything. Because of that huge drop in weight, you don't need heavy machinery for routine work anymore. You don't have to shut down a production line just to do a quick inspection. Suddenly, maintenance goes from being this massive, disruptive operation to a quick, easy task that a single worker can handle safely. And that one design change just unleashes a flood of benefits. It's instantly safer for workers, no more risks from heavy lifting. Inspections and cleaning are way, way faster, which means you slash that expensive operational downtime. The better insulation keeps the metal temperature stable, which boosts efficiency and saves energy. And the tight seal means a healthier, more comfortable work environment with less radiant heat and fewer fumes. It's a win on every single level. Now, this one solution is fascinating, but it's also a perfect example of a much bigger story that's unfolding across heavy industry. For a long, long time, the only question that mattered was, does it work? But now there's this growing realization that usability is just as critical. The the best solutions aren't just effective, they're also designed with the actual operator in mind, making their jobs safer, easier, and way more productive. And that's really the big takeaway here. This wasn't about some flashy, futuristic technology. It was about looking at a really basic, everyday problem. Hey, this lid is way too heavy, and using smart design to solve it in a simple, elegant way. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Heavy industry is filled with these little invisible problems, the routine frustrations that everyone just accepts and works around. This story proves that questioning those basic assumptions is where real innovation happens. So, what other heavy problems out there are just waiting for a lightweight solution?